Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yashar Barakatha, Yahweh Shem Arlatham Ba'Shem Yashar. Bear with me one moment. We're closing out the Feast of First Fruits. Men of Israel, Akwafim, Imagine, which means to stand, turn and face the east. We're going to start with the Lord's Prayer. This is the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Bear with me one moment. This is the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, SHALAM, Yahweh, Malakwatka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, I.S.U.P.K, Ba'aratazah, Kawa, Hayah, Bashemayim, Lathalanawa, Lakam, Ka, Yuwam, Wasalaknawa, Kawaknawa, Kasalaknawa, Kawakinawa, Wala'ah, Sabayanawa, Wanasayawan, Abal, Hawashinawa, Mayan, Ran, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wahala, Wahasapara, La'ai Walamyam, Aman. What we read in the English: Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Salakia, hallowed be thy name, Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever, so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Ahahaya, Ma'ayan, Yav'ah, Isaiah, Ma'ayin, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Wa'aratazah, Al Yanathan, Lamawat, Regalka, Al Yanawam, Shemarka, Hana, La'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yarisham, Shalomar, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shemarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al-Yan, Yamyanka, Yalmam, Hashemach, La'ah, Yakaka, Wayrak, Bala Yala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makarai, Yashamar, Aknapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'athka, Ubawa'athka, Ma'aitha, Wa'aid Iwalam. What we said in the English: I will lift up my eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help comes from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Bless Israel, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Barak Lanawa, Wayasha'ala, Wahabayasaparia, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Thawala Aman. Lord, in the name of Yahushai, bless us and Israel and the school in the name of Yahushai. Thank you, so be it. Yeah. Prayer for the Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim, Al-Damayah, Lakah, Al-Takarash, wa Al-Thashakwai, Al-Kayahna, Awaya Yabyaka, Yahamawan, Salakia. Yahama Yawan, Wama Shana Yaka, Naasha Wa, Ra'ash, Al Amaka, Ya'ara Yamwa, Sawad, Waya Saya Aitazawa, Al Tazapawan, Yaka, Amarwa, Lakawa, Wanaka Yadam, Magaya, Wala'a, Yazakar, Shamya Sha'ala, Iwad, Kaya, Nawa Aitazawa, La, Yakadwa, Al Yaka, Barya, Yakarathwa, Al Halia, Alawam, Wayashamai, Alayam, Mawa'aba, Wahagaria, Gabal, Wa'aimawan, Wa'aimala, Palashat, Ain Yashabia, Tazawar, Gam Ashawar, Nalawa, Imam, Hayawa, Zarawai, Salakia, Labanya Lawat, Salah, Aisha, Laham, Kamadyan, Kasaya Sara'a, Kayabyan, Bankar, Kuyashwan, Nashamadwa, Ba'ayan, Dara, Haywa, Daman, La'adama, Shayathamwa, Nada Yabmawa, Ka'irab, Waka Azaba, Waka Taza Mana'ai, Ka Nasa Kamwa, Ashar, Amarwa, Naya Rasha, Lanawa, Nawa, Nawa, Alahaya, Shayatha, Salakia, Shayathamwa, Kagalga'a, Kakwash, Lapanya Raka, Ka'ash, Thaba'ira, Ga'ira, Uka La Haba, Thalahat, Haryam, Khan, Tharadatma, Basa Iraka, Waba, Sawapaka, Thabahalam, Mala'ah, Panyaham, Kolawan, Waya Bakwashwa, Shumka, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Waya Bahawa, Ayai, Waya Kaparwa, Waya Abadwa, Waya Da'aiwa, Kaya, Atha, Shumka Yahawa, Labadka, Al Yuwan, Al Kaharataza. What we read in English. This is Psalms 83, verse 1. Keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, the Hagarenes, Gebal, and Ammon, Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur is also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kisan, which perished at Endor. They became like dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Z, yea, all their princes like Zabah and Zalmunna, who said, Let us take to ourselves the house of God in possession. O my God, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Lord. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Let them be put to shame and perish. Let men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. Prayer for power structure. Barakatha Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, Wa Mayak Ka'ala, Wa Alahaya, Matazab Ya'ah, Alawap Yahanna, Ha Alawapyam, Ha Saranyam, Ha Kwatazayanyam, Ha Kayal Yalyam, Ha Kwafyam, Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Thawad Amar. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angels, Commander General Yohanna, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters, in the name of Yahweh, thank you, so be it. Sorry, you may be seated. All right, so we're closing out the feast of feast of first fruits, right? At the beginning of the year, we opened with the Passover. It was in Raleigh, North Carolina, and during the Passover, we went into the feast of unleavened bread, and at the end of the feast of unleavened bread, you start the feast of first fruits. You count 50 Sabbaths, right? Salakia, you count 50 days. Salakia, you count 50 days, and then you close out the Feast of First Fruits, and that's where we are right now. Last week, everyone was celebrating May 2-4. They either celebrated Valentine's Day, all of the oppressors' holidays, right? But there's holidays that the Lord gave the children of Israel that we must observe, right? So we're going to go into these holidays. I'm going to read Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. This is where you find the holiday calendar, right? If you want to find the high holy days that are for the children of Israel, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you have to go to Leviticus, the book of Leviticus, start at the 23rd chapter, and that's what we're going to read right now. Right, so give me a moment. We're going to read Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. I'm going to read it in the Hebrew, and then I'm going to read it in the English and break it down for you. Salakia. Wiyadabar, Yahweh, Al, Mashah, La'amar, verse 2. Dabar, Al, Baniyah, Yasha'ala, Wa'amar, Rath, Alaham, Mawa'ad Ya, Salakia, Mawa'ad Ya, Yahweh, Ashar, Thaqwa Ra'ah, Thumb, Mqwa Ra'ah Ya, Quadash, Allah, Allaha, Ham, Mawa'ad Ya, verse 3. Shashath, Yamayam, the I.S.U.P.K, Mala Asha. Okay, bear with me. Waba Yawam, Hashab Aya, Shabbath 1, Maqwa Ra'ah, Qudash, Ma, Mala Asham, Salakia, Mala Ka, La'ah, Sa'ah, Shawah, Shabbat, Hawa'ah, La Yahweh, Bamal, Mawa, Shabbat, Yamam, verse 4. Allah, Wa, Salakia, Mawa'ad Ya, Yahweh, Mara, Mqwa Ra'aya, Qudash, Ashar, Thaqwa Ra'wa'ah, Atham, Bama Wa'ad Dam, verse 5. Buka Dash, Hara Asha 1, Salakia, Ba'a Rabbi, Aishar, Lakat Lakadash, Bayan, Ha'ira, Bayam, Pasak, La Yahweh, verse 6. Wabaka, Kama, Shah, Aishar, Yawam, Lakadash, Hazah, Kab, Hama, Tazah, Wath, La Yahweh, Shabbat, Yamayam, Matazah, Wath, Kala, verse 7. Baya Wam, Hara'ah Shawan, Makwa Ra'ah, Quadash, Yah, Yah, Salakim, Lamam, Mal, Mullah, Akaf, Ibada, Salakia, La'ah, I Shawah. So what we did was we read in the Hebrew verses 7. Salakia. We read in the Hebrew Leviticus 23rd chapter, verses 1 to 7. Right? Now we're going to read it in the English and break it down for you. Okay, bear with me. All right, so this is Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, the first verse. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, verse 2, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. Right, so verse 1 and verse 2, the Lord is talking to Moses, right? And this is when Moses went up to the mountain, and the Lord is giving him instructions. And Moses, like a good leader, is going to come back and instruct us, right? Right now, in the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community, we don't have good leaders. Our leaders want to be like our oppressors. And this is why our communities are destroyed, because we want to celebrate everything the oppressors want to celebrate. And none of that can be found in Leviticus 23rd chapter. Right. So the Lord gave us feast days, right? And this is the calendar schedule of these feast days. These are the Lord's feast days. They're holy convocations when you're supposed to gather with your family, with your brothers and sisters, with no heathens. Verse 3, 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. You shall do no work therein. It is a Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings, right? So you're getting further instructions, right? 6 days we would labor. You would serve either your master, meaning not a master like a slave, but as in someone who employs you, right? 6 days you would work, or you would farm for those 6 days. That's your work. That's your labor, right? And on the seventh day, it's a day of rest for yourself, right? Christ said that the Sabbath is made for man, and man wasn't made for the Sabbath, right? There's a lot of times when people will make the Sabbath, they'll turn around and say you can't cook on the Sabbath and have their children starving, right? And that's not what the Lord wanted for the children of Israel. Let's keep reading. Ye shall do no work therein. It is a Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. Verse 4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even the holy convocations, which you shall proclaim in their seasons. Verse 5. In the 14th day of the first month at evening is the Lord's Passover. Right? So you're finding out that these are the Lord's feasts. They all have a season. These feasts are going to happen throughout the year. There's appointed times for them, right? In the 14th day of the first month at evening is the Lord's Passover, right? The Passover is down near the beginning of spring. That's when our year starts. Our year doesn't start in the dead of winter. It starts in the spring. The earth can tell you when the new year starts, right? The earth is broken up into 4 cycles or 4 seasons, right? As this is even as we read in verse 5, as we read in verse 4, right? In their seasons, the earth has seasons. You have spring, which is the beginning of the year. You have summer, you have fall, when things are starting to die down. Then you have winter, when the earth goes into a Sabbath, a rest for that season. Nothing grows, everything dies. Right. Verse 6. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. Salakia, bear with me one moment. The water for bearing with me. I'm back. All right, so where were we? We were in verse 6, and on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. Right? So this is a time, the unleavened bread comes from a time when we were commanded to slay a lamb without blemish, place the blood on our doorsteps while we served in Egypt, right? Just like we're serving now in Canada, in the UK, in the Caribbean islands, in America, in South America, where we serve our oppressors, right? Well, the Lord told us, because we were in a rush, that we had to make bread with no yeast, right? And that's what made the bread unleavened. You take out the leaven in it. The leavening is an agent that makes the bread rise, right? To even make bread, you got to mix the dough, the flour, the water, the egg, add some yeast to it, let it sit after a while, and the dough rises up, it puffs up, right? Well, we couldn't wait for that. We were on the go. We had to get out of Egypt immediately, right? The people were about to start to mourn, and we had to rush, right? We were commanded to eat this unleavened bread and the lamb with our garments on and our swords in hand and our boots on our feet. The water. Ooh, wee. Nothing like some cold water. All right, let's get it in. We're going to read verse 8 to 14. Right, so we're going to read verse 8 to 14 in the Hebrew. Waha kora batha salakia. Waha kora tham asha la Yahweh Shabbat Yamayam Bayawam Hasha Baya Ayam Makura Kodash Ma Mala Atha Salakia Mala'ah Math Ibada La'ah Tha'ai Shawah. Verse 9. Well, Wayad Wayadabar Yahweh Al Masha, La Man, verse 10. Debar, Al, Banya, Yasha Allah, Wa Amarath, Wa Amarath, Alaham, Maya, Thaba'awa, La'a, Salakia, Allah, Ha Rataza, Ashar, Anaya, the Nathan, Lakam, Wakwa Tazar, the Thumb, Ath, Quatazar, Yara, Waha Ba'a, Thumb, Ath, Aiman, Ra'a Shayath, Quatazar, Kam, Allah, Hakahan, Ma Salakia, verse 11. Waha Naya Pa Salakia. Waha Nayap Af I Marn Lapanya Yahweh Salakia Lavra Tazan Mam Makwa Salakia Mka Ra Hasha Ba Yana Yapa Nawa Haka Han, verse 12. Wa'ai Shaya Thumb Yaba Salakia Waya Wam Hana Yapa Hana Yap Kam Ah Ha'ai Mar Kabash Thamam Yum Bun Shana Thwa La'ai Lahab La Yahweh. Verse 13. Wama na Kathawa Shanaya Aisha Ranayam Salah Bala Wala Basha Man Asha La Yahweh. Riyak Naya Kak Wana Saka Yayan Ba Salakia Rabba'i Haka Yan. Verse 14. Wala Kam Wakwa Laya Wakam Ramal La'a Tha'ath Ka La Itizam Hayawam Haza Habaya Ayam Salakia Habaya Akam Korban Alaha Yakam Kakwath Iwalam Lada Rathaya Kam Bakal Masha Batha Yakam. All right, so now we're going to read verses 8 to 14 in the English and break that down. So let me just make sure I have my place for next time. All right, so we're going to read verses 8 to 14 in the English. Excuse me. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. And the seventh day is a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. Right? Again, these days that we're having, they're the Lord's feast days. They're rest days for us from our labors. Right? That's why when you read about the Sabbath, it says, "Ye shall do no servile work." Right? It's not necessarily. It's basically for bosses to give their employers a day off, right? The Lord is thinking about you in your labors, right? You know what it's like in this kingdom that we're in right now, under the oppressor that we're under right now. They want us to work 24/7, right? And when we ask for a day off, it's a problem. Listen, if you want a day off, you gotta, and you say you're sick, they want you, even though you're sick and you're taking a rest day, they want you to drag yourself out of bed and go to some doctor's office, spend 3 to 4 hours in a doctor's office just to pay for a sick note, just to prove you were sick at work and you were sick at home, right? So these are rest days where we do no servile work. Verse 9, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 10, speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, right? Again, all of this is for the children of Israel. The whole Bible is for the children of Israel, right? You're not going to see, speak unto the children of Moab. Speak, listen, even when you see the other nations, it's not offering anything good. It's usually offering judgment, right? You go into Isaiah 60 and it speaks on the other nations. It's talking about them going into servitude to Israel. And if they don't want to worship and they don't want to serve Israel, they're going to be destroyed, right? That's all you see. So you, as a Black, Hispanic, Native American, you should rejoice in knowing that there is a kingdom that's coming for you, right? But you got to work to get it. It's not free, right? Nothing in this life is free. You're not just going to get the Most High to do something for you, even though he's done it damn near 1,000 times, right? We still got to work for this. To get the kingdom of Israel, we had to work for it. We had to go to war. To get this kingdom that's coming now, we have to go to war. But it's not a carnal war, it's a spiritual war. All right, we're back. We are back. So it's not a carnal war, it's a spiritual war. Right? Verse 10, speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, when ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. Right now, when we had our kingdom, the priest, we would take care of them. The priests, the Levites weren't a tribe, right? They weren't counted as a tribe. They had no lands. They were in all of our lands, all throughout the 12 tribes' lands. That's where they were working and doing the work of the Lord. We had to take care of them, right? We would pay tithes to the priest, give 10% to the priest. They would use it for whatever damn thing they want to use it for, because they were the Lord's priests and they were doing the right things. They weren't your Creflo dollars. They weren't your Kurt Franklins. Has anybody seen Kurt Franklin lately? This man is magic miking every stage he's on, right? You can't tell if this is a gospel concert or Chippendales in Las Vegas, right? The priests of Israel would take the tithes, take the first fruits, the things that they got. They would use it to feed themselves and feed the homeless, feed the poor of us, feed the widow, feed the children who lost their parents in battles, right? That's what they would do. We were told that when we get our harvest in the land, the first harvest, we're supposed to give it to the priest. This is the first fruits. Verse 11. And he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you on the morrow after the Sabbath. The priest shall wave it. Verse 12. And ye shall offer that day when ye wave the sheaf and he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto the Lord. Now, why this is saying a he lamb without blemish is because it's the best lamb that you have, right? It's the best lamb that you have. You don't give the lame lamb. You don't give the lamb that is dying, that no one wants this lamb, right? You don't even want it. That's why you're giving it to the priest. No, you give the best lamb that you have, that prize winning lamb, the one that you know you were going to get paid a lot of money for. You give that lamb to the priest, right? Let's keep reading. And the meat offering thereof shall be with 2/10 deals of fine flour mingled with oil, an offering made by fire unto the Lord for a sweet savior. And the drink offering thereof shall be of wine, the fourth part of a hin. Right. So this is telling you how you were going to season the lamb. Right. Listen, this is how you know this book is not for the oppressor, because the oppressor doesn't season anything. Right. But you're giving instructions on how to season that lamb for the offering that you were gonna make by fire. Right. Let's keep reading. We're worried. This is verse 14 in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. And ye shall eat neither bread nor parched corn nor green ears until the self same day that ye have brought an offering unto the Lord. Right. So what that's saying is, until you've gone and given the offerings to the priest, right? You're not going to do anything else. Listen, you're not eating until you go give that offering. That was the first thing you were supposed to do. Go and give that offering to the priest. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings. Right. This is something that's not supposed to change. A lot of times you hear people say things about the Bible like, well, that was back then. Right. There is no back then. It's still happening now. The Bible is current. It's a book that is alive. This is not the Egyptian book. It's not the book of the dead. This is the book of life. All right. So we're going to go back into the Hebrew. We're going to read from 15 to 21 in the Hebrew, right? And then we're going to break it down. Where are we? Okay, let me get right with you. Hold up. This is Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, verse 15. Wasapar thumb. Lakam. Mama ka karaf. Hashabath. Mayawam. Haba ya ama salaki. Haba ya kam ab Aymar. Hathan wa wapa. Shabbat Shabbath wa the Thama ya Yamath the Saha ya Yayan Makarath Mamakaf Karath Salakia Hashabath Hashabat Salakia. Hashaba Ya'if, the Thesapara, Salakia. Thesap, Sap, Ra, Kama, Shayam, Yawam, Waha, Kura, Batham, Manaka, Kada, Shah, La Yahweh. Verse 17. Mama Washa Bath Yakam. Thaba Yawa Lakam. Thana Wapa Shatha Yam Shanaya. Salakia, where was I? Shanaya. Aisha Rina Yam Salaf. Thaha Yana Kamataza. The Padyan Baka wa Rayam La Yahweh. Verse 18. Wahakwa Kura Batham Al Hala Kam Shabai Kaba Shayam Thama Yam Banaya Shana Wapar Ban Bakar Akkad Wa'a Yalam Shana Yam Yaha Yawa Ayla La Yahweh Wama Naka Thum Wana Saka Yaham Asha Riyak Niya Kak La Yahweh. Verse 19. Salakia. Shaya Thum Sha'ayar Azayam Akkad Laka Ta'ath Washa Nagya Kabash Yam Banya Shana Lazabak Shala Salakia Shlamayam. Verse 20. Waha Naya Hakahan Atham Al Lakam Haba Kabaryam Thana Wapa Lapanya Yahweh Al Shanaya Kabash Yam Quadash Yahweh Salakia Yawa La Yahweh La Kahan. All right, so what we're going to go back and do now, we're going to read verse 15 to 21 in the English and break it down. All right, so this is Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, verse 15. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths complete, right?
So 7 Sabbaths is 50 days, right? Now, the Christians, this is what happens a lot of times, right? When you follow someone who doesn't know what they're talking about, or you follow someone who's following something that's not meant for them, they are going to mislead you, right? So the word Pentecost is 50. You have Christians who celebrate the Pentecost, not understanding what the Pentecost is, right? You're going to hear it all throughout the Christian church. You're going to hear Pentecost and them celebrating Pentecost. When you ask them what the Pentecost is, they're not going to be able to tell you. They're not going to be able to tell you that the Pentecost is the Feast of First Fruits. And where do you find the Feast of First Fruits? Where we're reading it right now, right? 50 days after the start of the after the ending or the closing of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, right, is the closing of the Feast of First Fruits, right? The day after you close the Feast of Unleavened Bread, or that same night you're closing the Feast of Unleavened Bread, you're also opening the Feast of First Fruits. Slovakia. All right, so let's keep reading. Verse 16, even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath, ye shall number 50 days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord. Ye shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves, 2 tenth deals, right? They shall be of fine flour, they shall be baken with leaven. They are the first fruits of the Lord. Verse 18. Salakia. Verse 18, and ye shall offer with the bread, right? So we're going to make bread during these times. During these times, you're having a feast. It's a party. It's a family gathering, right? Ye shall offer with the bread 7 lambs without blemish. Again, those lambs without blemish, because you're not offering the worst of what you have. This is something for the Lord. You're offering the best, right? You're giving it to the priest. You're having a a convocation with your neighbors, your fellow Israelites. You're listen, the Spanish brother down the street who's Cuban, right? Who's a Israelite. That's who you're having this convocation with, right? The Mexican brother that or sister or family that you know, right, that are Israelites, right? That's who you're having this convocation with, right? And you're offering the best right now, because Christ was the sacrifice that we used, that we needed, right? So the Lord wouldn't take his wrath out on us. We're not making sacrifice anymore. Like, we're not going and sacrificing lamb, because what good is a lamb if Christ was a sacrifice, right? So because of that, now we sacrifice ourselves, meaning now we offer ourselves to the Lord, right? You give the best of what you have to the Lord, meaning yourself, your works, what you could do for the Lord, right? Now, the best way to do that is isupk.com, right? If you wanna actually do stuff, there are people who think they're doing stuff for their people, and it hasn't worked. It's not working, right? So let's keep reading. Where are we? And one of the first year, this is verse 18 in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, and 1 young bullock and 2 rams, and they shall be for a burnt offering unto the Lord, with their meat offerings and their drink offering. Now listen, you're going to find somebody who's telling you they're a spiritual leader, and they're telling you can't drink, which Christ drank, right? Now you can't be a drunk, but Christ drank. In the Sabbath procedures, right, for these high holy days, there is a drink offering, and they weren't drinking Kool-Aid, right? They weren't just drinking water, they were drinking wine, the yayan. Salakia. Where are we? with their meat offerings and their drink offerings, in offerings, even an offering made by fire of sweet savior unto the Lord. Right now, listen, when you go into any so-called Spanish Native American or or so-called Hispanic Native American or Negro house when they're cooking, and it's going to smell like a sweet savior. Let's read verse 19. Then ye shall sacrifice one kid of the goats. Right, this is a whole feast. Right, there's lambs, there's bullocks, there's baked goods, right, for a sin offering, and two lambs of the first year for a sacrifice of peace offering. Right, these are the sacrifices we would make unto the Lord. Right now, this, everyone, you might be wondering, what is the point of offering all these offerings onto the Lord just to eat it? Like, listen, you're going to take your best lamb, you're going to give it to the priest, you're going to take another good lamb, you're going to slay it and cook it for your neighbors and eat it when you could have used it to make money. Ooh, you could have used that lamb to make money, hold hard cash, the dinero, the peso, the pound, right? A few shekels, a few pounds of silver. You could have used that lamb to make pounds of silver. The point is to obey the Most High. That's the whole point, right? You're listen. You got the best lamb. This is the number one lamb, and you wanted to sell it, but you gotta kill it or give it to the priest. It's because you have to obey the Most High, right? That's the whole point, to obey the Most High, right? Let's read verse 20. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits for a wave offering before the Lord. With the two lambs, they shall be holy to the Lord for priest, right? 21. And you shall proclaim on the self same day, that it may be a holy convocation unto you. You shall do no servile work therein. It shall be a statute forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations. Right. So now let's go back. We're going to read 22 to 28. Right. This is Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, verse 22. Wabaka taza rakam af kwataza yar ara taza kam la'a thakam laha pa'af shada ka salakia shada bakwa tazarak wala kwataza yakwa yara salakia kwataza yarak la'a thala kwat la'a naya wala gar ta'ai zab atham anaya Yahweh alaha yakam. Verse 23. Wadabar Yahweh al Masha La'amar. Verse 24. Dabar al Banya Yasha'ala La'amar Bakadash Ka Kasha Ba'ya'aya Ya Ba'akad Lakadash Yaya Lakam Shabbath one Zakar one Thara Wa'aiha Makwa Ra'ah Quadash. Verse 25. Ma Salakia Kal Mala Akath Ibada La'ah I Shawa Waha Kura Batham Asha La Yahweh, verse 26. Verse 26. Waya Dabar Yahweh Al Masha La Mar, verse 27. Aka Ba'ai Shawar Lakadash Lakadash Hashaba Ya'aya Hazah Zawam Haka Rayam Hawa'ah Makwa Ra'ah Quadash Yaya Yakam Wa'ai Nayatham Ath Napa Shatha Yakam Waha Salakia Waha Korab Thumb Asha La Yahweh, verse 28. Wakal Mala Aka La'a Fa'ai Shawar Fa'ai Tazam Hayawam Hazah Kaya Yawam Kaparyam Salakia Hawa'a Lakapar. Bear with me. La'ai Yakam Panya La Panya Yahweh Alaha Yakam. All right, so now we're going to read, where were we? We're going to read 22 to 28 in the English and break it down. Bear with me one moment. Hey, Shalom, Maria. How about Shem Yashabak? Salakia, where are we? We're in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. We're going to read verse 22 to 28 in the English. And when you reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make any clean riddance of the corners of the field. Right? Listen, Israel's supposed to be running the world. You're going to find out that the people who run the kingdom we're in right now they're devils, right? They're deceivers. They are people who don't give a damn about their own people. They let their own people suffer. Go to Hastings Street in Vancouver. Go on Queen Street in Toronto. Go to Atwater Metro in Montreal. And you're going to see people suffering while the prime minister of this country takes $139,000 trips to go on vacation, right? Israel is supposed to be running the world. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. I'm going to explain it right now with this verse, right? So where were we? We're reading 22. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, meaning we farmed, we were shepherds, and we farmed. We had a wonderful land of flowing with milk and honey. It was called the land of Israel, not the small stitch of land that the fake Jewish man is claiming today as the land of Israel. That's not it, right? But when we reap the harvest of our land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners. That means don't pick everything off those trees, right? Listen, the trees or the vines or the crop that's bordering your land, right? Don't pick that stuff. Leave it, right? We're going to find out why. When thou reapest, neither shalt thou gather any gleanings of the harvest. Meaning the stuff that fell on the floor, you are harvesting grapes, and a couple of grapes fell on the floor. You're not supposed to pick those up. Leave them on the floor, right? Thou shalt leave them unto the poor. This is what's not happening in this kingdom right now. Again, go into any of the three major cities in Canada that I just mentioned, and you're going to see blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and Edomites. You're going to see a few Edomites. Listen, Edomites run the world, the so-called Caucasian man, and they don't give a damn that their own brothers and sisters are sleeping and on the floors and on the streets and in the cold and fighting the winter, right? So you know for sure they don't give two. They won't even listen. You could be on fire if you're black, Hispanic, and Native American, and they won't spit on you to put that fire out. Right? Again, when we rule the world, when we rule the earth, our people are not going to be suffering. Right? Because we're commanded not to. It's right there. Don't clean the land. Leave something for the poor. We pay tithes to the priest, pay tithes to the I.S.U.P.K because we're the only ones taking care of the poor of our nation, right? You didn't see everyone wanted to try and help the migrants now. They're trying to help the migrants now after we did it. The migrants have been traveling to the borders for a couple years well, and no one was helping them. And then we did it. And now everyone wants to help them. Right? So let's keep reading. Where were we? And to the stranger, I am the Lord your God, right? That's a verse about brotherhood. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month of in the first day of the month shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing trumpets in a holy convocation. Right? This is just another high holy day that the Lord gave us. Right? He's given us rest days, days that we can gather as a family and party. Right? We don't have to celebrate the heathens' day. Listen, there's people in the world who ask me why I'm not coming to these barbecues and cookouts and events that they're throwing. It's because it's not of the Lord. You're having days that the oppressor is telling you to celebrate. You can celebrate, listen, you can celebrate next week. No one wants to have a barbecue next week. Everyone's going to wait until July 1st, right? Now, I'm going to help you understand why, right? It's because oppression has worked in Canada. 12th Shield General Muhammad said this. Oppression has worked in Canada, right? Oppression has worked so much that, listen, you want a slave. Now, this is no disrespect to anybody watching, right? Especially if you're Black, Hispanic, and Native American. But if you want a slave to celebrate a day and love that day, you just give them a day off. And now every Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans, they're celebrating Canada Day as if Canada is our resting place. All right, so let's continue reading. And ye shall do no servile work. Again, no servile work, right? Some people would say, well, you can't do pleasure on the Sabbath. Well, I got a question for all you Christians, right? And shout out the men above me, because I only say the things the men above me say. If I'm not allowed to do my pleasure on the Sabbath, right? What if my pleasure is reading the Bible? Answer that, Christians. Can you read the Bible on the Sabbath if your pleasure is reading the Bible? Carrying on. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. 26. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Also in the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. Listen, if you're in here, you know about the day of atonement, right? And you're going to need brotherhood on that day, because on that day, we have a feast and it's a full 24-hour feast of pain, meaning we don't drink water, we don't eat for 24 hours. A day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And listen, you fast for 24 hours, and at the end of it, you gather with your brothers and sisters, and you have a feast. Verse 28, and ye shall do no work therein that same day. If you can get that day off of work, it's best to, because it's a hard thing to go. Now, brothers and sisters in the school do it all the time, right? They go into work on the Day of Atonement, not eating for 24 hours, and still make it out, right? And you won't even know they haven't eaten, because we're not going to complain about it, because we are no cowards, right? We are not purple. Salakia. Da, 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 da. All right, so that's the Day of Atonement. Children do not fast from the Day of Atonement. That is cruel. You cannot expect to tell your child not to eat for 24 hours. What are they? They're not sinning. If your child has sins, it's because you're an evil parent, right? So your child doesn't need to atone on the Day of Atonement. If they want to eat, make them their sandwich, get them that peanut butter and jelly, them whatever snacks they want. You atone, all right? The rest of us, we're going to atone. All the adults are going to atone for Israel and to repent for the sins that Israel has done, right? We're going to afflict our souls. Let's get back down to it. We're going to read 29 to 35. Bear with me. All right. Kaya, call, Salakia. This is Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, verse 29. Kaya, call, Hana, Pash, Salakia. Ashar, La'a, Thana, Tha'ai, Aina, Ba'ai, Tazam, Hayawam, Hazar, Shana, Kar, Thahab, Ma'ai, Mayaha, 30. Wakal, Hana, Pash, Ashar, Tha'ai, Shahar, Ka, Mala, Aka, Ba'ai, Tazam, Hayawam, Hazar, Waha'a, Bada, Thaya, Hana, Pash, Haha, Wa'a, Salakia, Makah, Rab, Ima, 31, Ka, Mala, Aka, Kahab, La'a, Tha'ai, Shawa, Kwa, Ka, Salakia, Kakwa, the Iwalam, Salakia, Lada, Ratha, Yakam, Bakal, Masha, Batha, Yakam, 32, Shabbath, 1, Hawa'a, Lakam, Wa'ai, Naya, Tham, Ath, Napa, Shaya, Thaya, Kam, Batha, Sha'ai, Ha, Lakadash, Ba'ai, Rab, Ma'ai, Rab, I bar, Salakia, I rob, Thasha, Bathawa, Shabbath, Shabbath come. 33. Wayah Dabar Yahweh Al Mashah La'amar. 34. Dabar Al Banya Yasha'Allah La'amar Bakar Mashah Aishar Yawam Lakadash Hashab Ya'ai Ya Hazah Ka Hasa Kawath Shabbath Yamayam La Yahweh. 35. Bayah Wam Hara Salakia. Hara Asha 1. Makwa Ra'ah Quadash Ka Mala Akath Ibada La'ah Tha'ai Shwa. All right. So we read to Slakia. Where do we just read to? We read to 35. So we're going to read Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, 29 to 35. Right? So this is Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, 29, verse 29. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in the same day, he shall be cut off from among his nation. Listen, what you're finding out, it doesn't pay to be a coward. It does not pay to be a coward, right? Just suffer with your brothers. That's the best thing you could do for your nation, is suffer for your nation. Listen, you want to know why the black community, Hispanic and Native American community is in shambles? Is because we don't keep the laws of our father, right? We have horrible leadership, and we're not willing to suffer with each other. Moab, for the last 20 years, damn near half a century, Moab, the so-called Chinese, has suffered with each other. They got on one accord and suffered with each other. And right now they're threatening to topple the world's currency because they suffered with each other. That should be a lesson for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You're not willing to suffer. Everything is about you and what your gut wants and what you do, and you just wipe your mouth and act like nothing happened, right? But you have to be willing to suffer with each other. And that's what you're finding out right now. It said, where were we? 29. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in the same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. Right? Listen, suffer with your brother so you're not cut off. Verse 30. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will be destroyed, will I destroy from among his people. Now listen, if you got to go to work that day, go to work. You got to feed your family. You're not in your kingdom. You have no control over it. If you don't go to work that day, you're not going to be able to feed your family, right? The person who's scheduling you to work that day, even after you've requested it off and you've been denied, is going to suffer the consequences of making you work that day. Let's keep reading. 31. Ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations. It's not just for 7 AD. It's forever. It's not just for 700 BC. It's forever. Don't let anybody ever tell you that the statutes and the commandments and the ordinances that we are given in this Bible was for a certain time. No, it's forever. You find that out all throughout the Bible. Again, this is our constitution. Like, if you haven't heard me say it during this closing of the feast, like the holy scriptures that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the ISUPK holds dear, right? That we live by. It's our constitution. It's why we're strong. It's why we're not cowards. It's why we don't say shalom, then 10 seconds later say shalom, because we have a constitution. We understand what it is to be a nation, right? It's why when them purple people eaters touch that chair, touch that ISUPK property, Officer Malak, give Officer Malak a hand. He was no coward and he did not back down. All right, let's keep reading. Where were we? 31. 32. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest. Right? Again, these are days of rest. All these high holy days are days that we take off from work, days that we take off from our servitude, days that we take off from servile work. This is what you always have to remember. Whenever you see the Sabbath, it's a rest of servile work. Let's keep reading. Where were we? We were at, I'll just read 32. And it shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your soul in the 9th day of the month at even. From evening to even shall ye celebrate your Sabbath. 33. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of the 7th month, and shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord, right? Tabernacles is when we would go into the wilderness and go into booth and remember what it was like to travel 40 years through the wilderness, getting into the kingdom, right? As we waited for a generation to die off, right? Now, listen, you live in booths right now. Have you seen your neighborhood? Your neighborhood, I'll just paint it like this, right? Outside of your neighborhood, we're not in our land. We're not in our kingdom. We're in the wilderness, right? We live like we're in the wilderness. Our neighborhoods look like a wilderness, right? We're not in our kingdom and we're suffering. We listen, in Canada right now, they're saying if you haven't bought a house already, you're never going to buy a house. We're suffering. And it's even worse if you're Black, Hispanic, and Native American, right? We are suffering under a tyranny, under an empire that has been grinding us, and we're stuck at the bottom being grinded while heathen nations come and they get up on top of us. They get stores in our communities. They get the business loans while we struggle to get a grant or a loan, right? Haven't you wondered why all the pizzas in your neighborhood look like one people? Why all the corner stores in your neighborhood are controlled by one people? Why you pay rent to a people that look like one specific people? These heathen nations, like we read in Psalms 83 in the beginning of the class, they made a tumult against us, against the Lord, against his chosen children. They said they wanted to take us into possession, and we've been in possession since. Right? Let's keep reading. Where were we? Shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord. On the first day shall be a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. Again, we keep getting to that point where you keep seeing holy convocations, right? So now we're gonna keep reading. What was that? 35. We're gonna read 36 and close out. So this is Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, verse 36. Let me get a sip of some agua real quick. Right. Shabbai Yamayam Thakwa Ra Yabawa Asha La Yahweh, Bayawam, Hasha, Mayan, Ya, Makura'ah, Kudash, Yahaya, Lakam, Waha, Bara, Salakia. Waha, Karab, Thumb, Hasha, La Yahweh, Itazar, Hawa'ah, Ka, Mala, Akath, Ibadah, La'ah, Tha'ai, Shawah, 37, 37, Allah, Alaha, Salakia, Mawa'id, Yahweh, Ashar, Thakura'a, Wa, Atham, Makwa, Ra'a, Kodash, Laha, Kwara, Yab, Ashar, La Yahweh, Allah, Waman, Nakaha, Nakah, Zabak, Wana, Saka, Wanasak, Yum, Dabar, Yawam, by Yawamwa, 38, Walabad, Shabathaf, Yahweh, Wama Labad, Mathan, Watha, Yakam, Wama Labad, Ka, Nadara, Yakam, Wakam, Labad, Ka, Nada, Batha, Yakam, Ashar, Tha, Nawam, La Yahweh, 39, Akam, Baka, Washa, Aisha, Zawam, Laka, Lakadash, Hasha, Baya, Salakia, Hashab, Ya'aya, Ba'a, Sab, Kam, Ath, Thabath, Wa'ath, Rataza, Thaka, Ga, Salakia, Ga, Ath, Kag, Yahweh, Shaba'ath, Yimayam, Bayawam, Hara, Shawan, Shabbat, the one, Waba, Yawam, Hasha, Mayawan, Salakia, Hasham, Yanya, Shabbat, 1, 40. Verse 40. Again, this is Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, verse 40. Watha ka Salakia. Walak ka katham. Bakam. Bayawam. Hara Shawan. Parya. Aitazah. Hadar. Kapath. Thamar Yam. Wa'aina Napa. Aitazah. Ibath. Wa'ira Baya. Nakal. Washa Makaf Thumb. Lapanya. Yahweh. Alahaya. Salakia. Alaha Yakam. Shaba'ath. Yamayam, 41. Wakag Thumb, Athawa, Kag, La Yahawa, Shaba'ath, Yam, Bashana, Kakath, Salakia, Iwalam, Lada Rath, Yakam, Bakadash, Hasha, Baya, Aya, Fikagwa, Thawa, 42. Basa Kath, Thasha Bawa, Shaba'ath, Yam, Kal, Ha'a Zarak, Yashra'ala, Yashabawa, Basa Kath, 43. Lama, Lama'ain, Yada Ya'aiwa, Daratha Yakam, Kaya, Basa Kawath, Hawa Shabathya, Ath, Wanya, Yasha'ala, Abawa Taza, Ya Aya, Awa Awatham, Amarataza, Matazar Yam, Anya, Yahawa, Alahai, Salakia, Alahayakam, Waya, Dabar, Masha, Ath, Ma'ai Yadaya, Salakia, Ma'ai Ya, Yahweh, Banya, Yasha'ala. Right? So we finished the 23rd chapter all in Hebrew. You will never get that in your church. Right? And now, Salakia, I'm going to read what we just finished in English for you. Salakia. So where do we finish? Okay, so we're going to read from 36 down to 44. Right? This is Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, verse 36. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. The 8th day shall be a holy convocation unto you. You shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. Again, this is a barbecue. This is a gathering of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans only. Y'all familiar when they say you're invited to the cookout? Well, if you're black, Hispanic, and Native American, you're invited to the Feast of Tabernacles. You're invited to the closing of unleavened, the closing of first fruits, right? Then what do we have, Salakia? Let's go back. We have first fruits, and after first fruits, we have blowing trumpets, right? If you are a black, Hispanic, and Native American, you're invited to the feast of blowing trumpets, right? And so on, all through the feast, all the feasts in this chapter, you're invited to, right? And it's a day off from work. Like, listen, the Lord was definitely thinking about us. He said, "Let me give my people a day off from work. They go to war, they farm, they're tilling the earth, right? And in these times, we need these days because we're under heavy oppression, right?" 37. These are the feasts of the Lord which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and drink offering, everything upon this day, upon his day, beside the Sabbaths of the Lord, and besides the gifts and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings which ye give unto the Lord. Right? So again, these are Sabbath days. These are days of rest. They're days that we're supposed to observe and celebrate. New Year's, Father's Day is coming up. That's not a listen. We're about to. We read this whole chapter and we didn't hear nothing about a Father's Day, right? And that's coming up, right? It's not a day to be celebrated, especially because listen, the history of Father's Day, we're gonna bring that out very soon, right? The history of Father's Day, it's about some oppressor wanting to celebrate her oppressor father. That's what Father's Day is. Boom, your mind has been blown. There you have it, the big mystery of Father's Day. 37, Salakia, 38. Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, verse 38. Beside the Sabbaths of the Lord, and beside your gifts, Salakia, I read that one. 39. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, and ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days, and on the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. Good night, a party for 7 days, and the first day is rest, and the 8th day's rest. Let's find out what this party is. And ye shall take you on the first day of Salakia, Bergs of goodly trees, right? Branches of palms, right? This is how we're making the booths, right? And the birds of thick trees and willows of brook, and ye shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days, right? 41. Again, listen, we're having a good time, a family time for 7 days. There's not going to be any fightings. I can't recall there was ever a fight. I'm trying to think. Nope, it's not ringing a bell. There was never a fight at a UPK event, right? Your family barbecue, though, you know there was a fight. You fought your cousin because he slept with your rib. You fought your cousin because you were both sleeping with the same man, right? Or you argued over you argued with your auntie why your uncle that everybody knows about is at the party. Why you're being forced to someone who abused you. In the UPK, that doesn't happen. Let's keep going. 41. And you shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Again, you're finding out these things are to be celebrated forever. You shall celebrate it in the 7th month. You shall dwell in booths 7 days, and all that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths. Right? Again, this is how we survived leaving the wilderness, or leaving Egypt and going into the wilderness. 40 years we lived in booths. Listen, for the last hundreds of years, damn near the last 400 years, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have lived in booths because we're not in our land. We're in the wilderness, and our homes, they're not homes. They're just cardboard boxes that the oppressor put up for us to rent. 43. That your generations may know that I made the children. This is the Lord talking. He's telling you what he did. He did this, right? This is why you're supposed to just obey, because the Lord has the power to judge you here under the sun and in the next realm, right? And in his dimension. He could destroy the body and the soul. Right? I know. Listen, Christians make it sound so spooky. Listen, you're going to eternal fire. Listen, we live in hell right now. You can't walk down the street without someone trying to murder you. You know, and when I say someone, I mean someone in a vehicle that has lights and a cage in the back, that has a badge, and he has handcuffs, and he says he's the law. You can't walk down the street without that man trying to murder you. In LA, they have police gangs. They go and kill Black and Hispanic men, Native Americans, and they tattoo different symbols for the types of kills that they have, like kill streaks. Right? Let's keep reading. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths, that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. This is the Lord speaking to Moses to tell us that, listen, he's the boss. He runs the show. So you got to get in order. You want to, listen, another rapper in my city, he's going to jail for murder, been charged with murder. He thought he was on his way, blown all the way up. Well, listen, the Lord had a different plan, right? Again, you gotta come to the Lord. You gotta come to the UPK. You gotta serve, or it's going to be caskets and jail bars. It's going to be a life of torment. You're gonna find yourself on the streets, right? You walk around and you see so many brothers and sisters living on the streets right now, right? And you have to wonder what is going on with these people. Why are they just so broken? Salakia, give me one moment. Right. So you wonder why they're so broken. It's because we're not keeping the law. We're not doing what the Lord wants us to do. We're not celebrating his feast days. We want to celebrate everything except for what the Lord told us to celebrate. Right. So let's keep reading. Verse 44, this is the last verse in the chapter. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of the Lord. Again, these are our feasts. These are the days we're supposed to celebrate. Father's Day, Mother's Day, your birthday, St. Patrick's Day, Victoria Day, July 1st, Thanksgiving, which is the murder of our brothers and sisters. We are not to celebrate those. You want days to celebrate? We have amazing days to celebrate in our holy constitution, right? In our separate constitution, the thing that separates us from everybody else. We have days to celebrate, right? So once again, I'm going to be bringing a closing. We're going to say a couple prayers and then close out. Again, if you're with your family right now, right, get them to watch this video. Get them to watch this tape. Get them to listen to these classes, right? It's the thing that's going to save them. This kingdom is coming to an end right now. You see, Russia is gearing up to throw hands with everybody, right? There's people fighting. The fighting is Salakia. The Lord is waking up the mighty men in the earth, and they're coming to fight. Eventually, they're going to have their Salaki, I'm butchering the verse, right? But they're going to beat their plowshares, right? They're going to beat their weapons into plowshares. Salaki, I might have butchered that verse, but they're gearing up for war. This is what I'm saying. They're gearing up for war, and you can see it, right? So again, we're gonna close out. I'm gonna close out with reading the Lord's prayer. We're gonna close out with reading the Lord's prayer. Salakia, bear with me one moment. And then the security announcements, and we'll close out. Men of Israel, Akwafim, my Majim, which means to stand. Sarapanyah, Akwadam, which means turn and face the east. I'm going to read the Lord's Prayer. This is the Lord's Prayer. You can find it in Matthew 6, verses 8 to 13. Abanawa, Shabashamayam, Kodash, Hayah, Shaka, Yahweh, Malakavka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Baratazak, Wa, Hayah, Bashamayam, Nathanlanawa, Lakan, Kal, Yawam, Wasalaknawa, Kabwafnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabwafnawa, Wala'ah, Tabayanawa, Banasayawan, Abah, Hoshainawa, Mayan,
Ra Kaya Laka Amalakwa Wahala Waha Sapara La I Walamyam Aman. What we read in English, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever, so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asher Ayanya, Ahaharia, Mayan, Yabaa, Isaiah, Ma'aim, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Wa'arataza, Al Yathan, Lamawat, Magalka, Al Yanawam, Shamarka, Hanan, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yashan, Shalomar, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al Yad, Yamyanka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Yakaka, Wayarak, Bala Yala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makara, Yashamar, Atapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'afka, Wabawa Afka, Ma'aisha, I Walam, Salakia, I Walam. English, what we just read. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Akia. Bless Israel. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Barak Lamana Wayasha'ala Wahabaya Saparia Bashem Yahushai Thawaraman. Lord, in the name of Yahweh, bless us and Israel and the school. In the name of Yahweh, thank you, so be it. This is Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim, Al Damayah, Lakah, Al Thakarash, Al Thashukwat, Al Yakaya, Hanam, Al Wayab Yaka, Yahama Yawan, Wamashana Yaka, Na Nasha'awa, Ra'ash, Al Amaka, Ya'iriyam, Wa, Sawan, Waya, Thayat Zawan, Al Tazapawan, Yaka, Marwa, Lakawa, Wanaka, Yadam, Mugaya, Wala'a, Zakar, Sham Yasha'ala, Iwad, Yaka, Nawataza Iwa, La, Yakadwa, Al Yakawa, Barya, Karathwa, Al Hawya, Iwan, Wayashamai, Alayam, Mawa'aba, Wahagaryam, Gabal, Wa'amawan, Wa'ama, Salakia, Wa'amalat, Palashat, I'm Yeshabia, Tazawar, Gamashawar, Lanawa, Imam, Hayawa, Zarawai, Labanya, Labwat, Salah, Isha, Laham, Kamadya, Ka Sa Yasara'a, Kaya Yan, Banaka, Kwashawan, Nashamad Wa, Ba'ayan, Dara, Hayawa, Daman, La Daman, Shaya Famwa, Nada Yamawa, Kaira, Wakazaba, Wakatazamal Na'ai, Ka Nasa Yakamwa, Ashar, Amawa, Naya Sha'a, Lanawa, Nawa, Alahaya, Shayathawa, Kagalka, Kakwash, Lapanya, Raka, Kaash, Tabaira, Yaira, Waka Lahaba, Salahat, Hariam, Khan, Taradatma, What's the Iraka, Wabar, Sopatka, Sabahalam, Mala'ah, Panyaha, Kalawan, Wayabukwashwa, Shavka, Yawahap, Yahawah, Yabashwa, Wayabahawa, Ayai, Wakaparwa, Waya Abadwa, Waya the Iowa, Kaya, Atha, Shankaya Hawa, Labaika, Al Yuwan, Al Kaharatazah. What we read in English. Keep not thou silence, O God. Again, this is Psalms 83, verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace. Be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, that are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom and Ishmaelites, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur is also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites. As to Sisera, as to Jabbet, at the brook of Kissam, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb, and like Zeb. Yea, all their princes as the Ba, and as Almunah, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. O my God, make them like a wheel, as a stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Lord. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. Prayer for power structure. Barakatha Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, Wa Mayak Ka'ala, Wa Alhayim, Matazav Ya'ah, Alawap Yahanna, Ha Alawap Yam, Ha Saranyam, Ha Kwatazan Yang Yang, Ha Kaya Yalyam, Ha Kwafim, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Thwaraman, in English. Bless you, Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angels, Commander General Yohanan, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you, so be it. Sorry, you may be seated, or Slovakia. Security announcements. We have the I.S.U.P.K. started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shut themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, Numbers 18 to 21, Malachi 3, verses 8 to 10. Ma'ashara, which means 10, every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Up and coming holy convocations. The next up and coming holy convocations will be the memorial of blowing trumpets. Salaki, give me 1 moment. Salaki, I'm just trying to find the next up and coming holy convocation for you. Give me 1 moment. I'm gonna find it for you. All right. So the memorial of blowing trumpets, the first day of the 7th month, Friday the 15th, September 2023. You can find it Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, verses 24 to 25. Slovakia. Okay, we're back. Reminder, Akim and Akwafim, check the bulletin board in your schools if you're in school. or check the website, isupk.com, and all social media. If anybody wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, headband, scarf. With that said, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the Akim and the Aquafium, men of Israel, I Imagine Shabbat, I Imagine Barak, Yahweh Shemel Shabbarakatha, Yagamata, which means hands down. Turn to the sisters. We're going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters, men of Israel, I Imagine Shabbat, I Imagine Barak, Yahweh Shema Alathan, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Yagamata. Class dismissed. Clap it up. Tomorrow we got a brotherhood class. I believe it's at 5 p.m. on this same channel by Officer 500 Barak Yala. Shalom Akim. Aquafium.